last year, towards the end of the year, I began to feel that we need to pick our Old Testament text and read through, study through, and preach it through. In Gospel Life, we believe in the Bible. So we have a theme, and the theme is, let my people go that they may serve me. That is our theme for this year. Let my people go that they may serve me. Repeated almost 7 times in the book of Exodus. We will see that as we continue. Repeated quite a number of times. Let my people go that they may serve me. And in fact, and I will say much about that, that is, you can summarize the book of Exodus that way. You can summarize the book of Exodus that way. Let my people go. The first 18 chapters are about God's people leaving Egypt and going. And then the next 22 chapters, chapter 19, all the way to the last chapter, chapter 40, is about that they may serve me. So already the theme captures the structure of the book. And I want you to begin reading Exodus together with me. Please, please. Gospel Life. We are people who believe in the Bible. So when we are doing a series on a biblical book, go pick that book. Begin to read it. Kama wewe ni mtu wa soft copy, tafuta vile utatumia. Is it your phone? Is it your tablet? Is it your computer? Go back there every now and then. Read it. Begin to read it. By the end of, because this will take us the whole year. It's a big and a huge book. It will take us a whole year to finish Exodus. But then, because the book of Exodus is used so much in the New Testament, what will happen is we will have so many detours into the New Testament. That's why we will take a whole year. 40 chapters, but then in the New Testament, Moses is all over the place. Moses is in John. Paul talks about Moses. Hebrews talks about Moses. Chapter 11, Romans talks about Moses. So Moses is all over the place. And we must take the detours so that we may understand the book of Exodus in its totality. The book of Exodus has a wonderful message for us. And it is my prayer that this year, as we study it, please begin to study it with me. As we study it, we will benefit from the message of Exodus. No, I began thinking about this, in fact, last year. And I am sure that this is what God wants us to learn in the course of this year. I want Lily to beseech you to read Exodus together with me. To follow the sermons as much as you can and benefit completely from the message of this book. Exodus is the Gospels of the New Testament. Exodus is the book of the deliverance and the salvation of God's people in the Old Testament. Moses is what Jesus is in the New Testament. What Jesus is for God's people in the New Testament is what Moses is for God's people in the Old Testament. And so there is so much comparisons between the book of Exodus and the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There's a lot of comparison. That's why John uses a lot of Moses. Right in chapter 1, there is Moses there in the book of John, in the Gospel according to John. Moses is right there. Okay? And as you continue, chapter 3, chapter 5, Moses is all over the place. Why? Because what Jesus is for the New Testament church is what Moses was for the Old Testament church. Moses is the great deliverer of God's people in the Old Testament. Jesus is the great deliverer of God's people in the New Testament. And so I want to ask you to follow. Please make effort. Follow. Learn. Do not be left behind. Because again, it's a long book. You may get bored along the way. There is quite a number of chapters there that we don't know what to do with. Especially from around 26, 27. It's about God talking to Moses and telling Moses, this is how the tabernacle will be built. And he tells him where the stone will be put, where the curtain will be put, where this thing will be put, how many meters shall the wall be. Sasa hiyo bado spiritualize. Ama tutafanya nini? When we get there, we will try to sort out that. But please, I'm encouraging you. Go get the book of Exodus. Print it. If you don't mind, put it on your table. If you think you think the whole Bible is a big thing, you can print it. It will be in just a few pages. You can even bind and put it on your table, and every now and then you're going back there. If you're using your gadgets, just bookmark, do something so that you may come back to Exodus again and again. I've done that in the last 2 weeks. I've put it on my podcast. I've been listening to it on my car. I've been listening already to a lot of YouTube, especially by scholars, to tell me some of the things that I have questions about. Which I, there are things there that are quite confusing. I don't want you to get into the confusing things. If you don't have the capacity, you don't have to get there. But me, I want to find out a few more things. And so I'm looking at the text, I'm listening to podcast, and I want to understand the message of the book of Exodus. I want to ask you to do the same. Please do the same. Listen to it. You can listen from the message, listen to ESV, listen to NLSV, listen to all these versions. Read, Google and read. But be careful with Google. It can lose you. It can get you lost. So before you Google, give me about 5 Sundays, I introduce you to Exodus before you begin going to Google, because it may confuse you. There are guys there who will tell you, by the way, Exodus is a myth. It never happened. And you can begin to follow those kind of paths, and they can lead you to very destructive places. So I encourage you to do that together with me. So today, I want to look quickly at the backstory. So where are we? What is happening? Why Exodus? Why Exodus? Where are we? Where are we? We must ask that question before we get into the book. Where are we in the great story that the Bible tells us? The Bible tells us a very big story. What happened before? What is God up to? You see, those questions are very relevant even for us today. What has happened before? What is the story? What story does the Bible tell us? What has happened before? What will happen next? All these are important questions that concern us today. They are not just about Exodus. So remember, the story begins in creation, with creation, God's good creation. Remember that? Human beings at the epicenter of God's project. That's how the story begins. That's how the story of God begins. The story begins with God from himself making a decision to create something out of himself. So out of nothing, and it's not really nothing. I think sometimes we have bad theology. It's out of himself. He creates the beautiful world that we see. And at the center of that creation is you and me, human beings. That's where the story starts, Genesis 1 and 2. But this good creation is messed up by human failure and rebellion. We don't know it took how long, but we know once we get to chapter 3, God's good creation is messed up by human rebellion and failure. We know that. And so this leads to the beginning of evil in the world. Evil in the world is born, which leads to more evil. And by the time we get to chapter 6 of Genesis, God is already regretting why he created man. It takes only 5 chapters for God to regret why he created man. Are you listening to me? And God, at that point, decides to judge the world. He judges the world. He judges man. And how does he do that? He appoints a man called Noah. And God judges the world using water. He brings the flood. Okay, the Bible says all over the world, but be careful with that language. Let me not get into that discussion. So flood comes about and it wipes human beings except Noah and his family. And then through Noah, God establishes another family. God establishes another family. And Adam and Eve and their children and their children, they are now many, but they are evil. And in chapter 7, 6, 7, and 8, God judges that generation. He remains with Noah and his family. And with Noah and his family, God starts again a new family. And by the time we get to chapter 11, that Noah's family is as evil as Adam and Eve's family, and God, instead of destroying them, he scatters them on the face of the earth. Because he had made a promise that he will never destroy human beings using water. So through Noah, God established another family, which is nevertheless as evil as the previous generation, but through which God will bring about a man called Abraham. We are now in Genesis 12. Abraham. And let me tell you, after Genesis 12, the rest of the biblical story is about God's covenant faithfulness in fulfilling the promises he made to Abraham. The rest of the Bible after Genesis 12 is about Abraham and his children. To date, because we are those children in Jesus Christ. And so there's something that you need to understand. For you to understand the story of the Bible, something happens in Genesis 12. And from Genesis 12, the rest of the Bible is about that. It's about God working out the promises that he made to Abraham. And those promises includes Jesus Christ. And we are in Jesus Christ. So the rest of the Bible is about God executing those promises he made to Abraham. And so what promises are these? Let me just highlight these promises. What promises are these that God made to Abraham? Genesis 12, verse 2 and 3. It says what? Project Abraham. It says, Abraham, I will make you a great nation. Look at them. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great. You shall be a blessing, and I will bless those who bless you, and those who damn you I will curse. And all the clans of the earth through you shall be blessed. And the Lord appeared to Abraham and said, to your seed I will give this land. That is verse 7. I've just made a huge jump there from verse 3 to verse 7. I'm trying to highlight the promises that God makes to Abraham. And these are the promises that will run the rest of the story of the Bible. The rest of the story of the Bible is about these promises. Whether you move next to Exodus or Leviticus or Numbers, Deuteronomy, to Joshua, to David, all the way to the prophets, all the way, God is still working out Project Abraham. Project Abraham. The word blessing, I think, is important. The one blessing there, I think, is important. Because right there you can see that the string of curses, because there were curses in Genesis 3, the string of curses that began a few centuries with Adam and Eve, it's like they are reaching their turning point in Abraham. Because there were curses in Genesis 3, in Genesis 12, we are going to see the beginning of the reversal of those curses through this man called Abraham. In other words, through Abraham and Sarah, God will now reverse what Adam and Eve started. So let me try to highlight those blessings again. What will God do with Abraham? One, God will make Abraham a great nation. In other words, God will give Abraham a family. Remember, Abraham is Abraham is alone in the sense that Abraham and Sarah do not have a child. So, God will make Abraham a great nation. Both of them very old. I think Abraham is 75, if I'm not wrong. And Sarah should be about 60. I think the difference is 10 years. There is no hope of them having children. But God will make Abraham and Sarah a great nation. That one nation there basically means family. It also means people. So from Abraham, a great people will arise. A great nation, a great family will arise. God will do that. Number 2, God will bless Abraham. So instead of the curse of Genesis 3, God will do to Abraham the opposite of what that curse says. He will bless Abraham. Number 3, God will make Abraham's name great. So this is different from giving him a great nation. He will make his name great. I mean, how many years now since Abraham? About 4,000 years, and we are talking about him. And I promise you, I don't think you know your great-great-grandfather. Do you? What was the name of your great-great-grandfather? Abundance? We're still talking about Abraham. Why? Because God has made his name what? Great. Number 4, God will bless those who bless Abraham, and he will curse those who curse Abraham. Number 5, all the nations and peoples of the earth shall be blessed through Abraham. Now, that is a very important one. That is key. That is key. Listen to me. The previous chapter 11, God has scattered all the people all over the place. All of them. They were trying to gather together in chapter 11. God was not happy with that. He came down with the rest of the supernatural hosts, and he scattered all of them all over the place. And in fact, according to Deuteronomy chapter 32, he placed a demon over every country, over every nation. Hiyo mnajuanga? Sijui kama mnajua hiyo. Hiyo unajua sana. Okay, let me not talk about demon. He placed a god over every nation. He scatters, but over every territory where there are a nation basically means a people, a clan of people who speak the same language. He places a god with small g over them. That's why, for example, Daniel, you remember Daniel's prayer? He is praying, and then somebody is holding the prayer from the hair. Because every nation, whether you are a Kikuyu, the Kamba, the Luya, the Luo, the Nandi, every nation, there is a God who sits over them. And usually, those guys are not nice. You need to know that. Those guys are not nice. That's why God is constantly coming against them in judgment. That is Psalms 82. But let's not get there. Okay? So, now here we have Abraham is being told what? Abraham is told, all the nation, number 5, all the nation and the peoples of the earth shall be blessed through you. So, through Abraham, the nations that have been scattered all over, they will be blessed. So, it's like Abraham and your seed, through you, I will be able to touch every other nation that I have scattered across the world. And then number 6, I will give you land. I will give you land. Land is very important in that world. Land is no longer important in our world, okay? It's still very important to some people and some communities. But let me tell you, na mimi siwadanganya. Munaona kina Ivan, mutashtuka sana. Kina Ivan na kina Nzani, mutashtuka sana. Because unanunua land ukifikiria utapea Ivan land. Wewe ununue tu kijua ni yako. Yeah, because the world keeps changing. Things that are very important now, they will not be important tomorrow. Yeah. So this time, land is key. Land is so important. By the way, God willing, I can talk about land at some point and tell you and show you how land, in fact, is connected to the gods of the people. There's a connection between the gods that rule a community and the land they inhabit. It's called cosmic geography. Write that somewhere. You go and find what that is. Cosmic geography. Go find out what is that. Land is related to the gods that the people worship. And it is not very hard. Especially, we are in Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya people should not be struggling with that. Kirinyaga, Mount Kenya, and land in this part of the world. Land, Mudanga, in this part of the world, because it is connected to the God who controls the Kikuyu people. It's a link, and dialect link, but now let me not get into that. So God promises Abraham land. So, great nation, blessing, great name, being a blessing through the nations, and then land. The rest of the Bible is about how God will bring about these promises to Abraham and his descendants. And how Abraham, together with his people, together with his children, although they are humanly weak, and they are very weak, and we will see that in Exodus. In Exodus, you will see a very weak people. And those people are us. But God does not leave us because we are weak. He is constantly working with us. We see God fulfilling the promises he made to Abraham. Although Abraham is a weak human being, together with his children, they are sinful. We have just read that in Exodus 34, verse 8. They are sinful. They are weak. They do not obey God. Although that is happening, we can confidently say Abraham and his children try their best to actualize the promises of God. I have said two things there. I would want you to note them. The rest of the Bible is about how God actualizes those promises to Abraham. And then how Abraham, together with his seed, although they are weak and sinful, they try to abide by those promises. Have you seen that? There are two sides of that story, isn't it? There is God who is fulfilling the promises. And then there's Abraham who is trying to do what? Trying to actualize those promises. Trying to live by those promises. Okay? And so listen. You cannot just receive promises from God and sit down and wait for them. You've got to wake up like Abraham. The next thing Abraham does, verse 4. The next thing Abraham does, verse 4. So Abraham went. Yes. Yeah. That's the next thing he does. So Abraham went as the Lord had told him. So he gathered his capacities, his strength, and he began the journey that God told him to begin. So you must do something. Okay? You must do something. This year, you need to do something about your life. Come on now, you can talk to your neighbor. This year, you need to do something about your life. Yeah. Even those we are praying for to be married. Even those who are looking forward to be married, you must do something about that, isn't it? Yeah. You need to talk to people. Okay, you need to talk to people. Talk to people. Hata kwa matatu. Talk to them. Don't talk to the ones that you know, that you already know. Talk to them. Ni Mungu ameorganize. Unaenda job asubuhi, unaingia kwa mat. Zinaitwa kwa nini hizo Thika? Kenya mpya? No, Manchester. No, zingine? Super Metro, unasikia? Unaingia kwa Super Metro na ile kiti iko available, iko hapa na kuna jamaa amekaa hapa. See, God aliorganize. Just find out his name. Find out his name. Hey. Just hey. Yeah. Abraham went. Abraham went. See? Where? See, unaomba the whole night. Unaomba the whole night. Oh God, remember me. Oh God, bring that brother. Oh God, bring that sister. Oh God, remember me. Oh God, open my eyes. Ameshafungua. Mmoja amekaa hapa tu next to you. Kwa matatu. Amekaa tu hapa. Kwa matatu, kwa hoteli, kanisani. Si ndio? Kazini. Ako tu hapo hivi. Ongea. Yeah. So Abraham began to actualize. He tried. By the way, Abraham made many mistakes. Is that true? And why are you scared to make those mistakes? Okay, ask your neighbor. See context. Sasa tutoe context ya marriage. Toa marriage sasa in the picture. Muulize tu, just in life, why are you scared to make mistakes? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Anza biashara, funga. Na ufunga vizuri. Si ndio? Jaribu ile kazi, enda ujaribu. Si ndio? After 3 months, imekataa, funga. Enda nyumbani. Asifiwe Mwokozi. Si ndio? Ongeresha huyo kijana, ongeresha huyo msichana. Ukikuta ameoleka na ameolewa, funga. Songa mbele. Yes. You need to be bold. You need to have confidence like Abraham. Abraham went. And the rest of the story is just about Abraham and his children trying to achieve that which God promised them. Abraham and Sarah will struggle through actualizing those promises. And then they will pass on the baton to Isaac and to Rebekah, who will then make every effort to pass it on to Jacob. Can you see that? There is transgenerational communication of the blessing. Abraham and Sarah, they will pass on the promises and the actualizing of those promises to who? To Isaac and Rebekah. And you know, the other day I told you, hao wazazi watatu, Abraham, Isaac na Jacob, walikuwa na shida kubwa sana na wake zao. Yeah, I told you that the other day. So Abraham is trying his best together with Sarah. Don't blame them and you are doing nothing. At least Sarah alifanya makosa. Yeye akaangalia hii promise ya God hivi akaona hii promise kuna vile. Si ndio? Akakuja na suggestions. Wewe suggestions zako ni gani? Hebu uliza rafiki hapo. Wewe uko na suggestion? Of course ilikuwa mbaya. Ilikuwa suggestion mbaya, lakini lazima mtu akue na suggestion. Huwa tu na suggestion. Sema kitu. Okay? And then they passed that to who? To Isaac and Rebekah. And Rebekah, oh my goodness, that woman is something else. I don't know how God crafted that woman. She is something else. Our levels of planning and craftiness, project management. Unajua mnafikiria project management mmesoma juzi KU. Rebecca ana understand project management. Akuna project inaitwa Jacob, and he will make sure Jacob gets what he must get, even if it's through cheating and deceit and lies. The project is moving on. God is not stopped by Sarah's suggestions. Neither is he stopped by Rebecca's wickedness. The promises are being passed on. And from there, they are passed on to who? To Jacob. And this time, and is how many wives? 2, and how many concubines? 4. Oh, 2, yes. So tunaendelea kuongezeka tu. Yaani unafikiria story yako ni mbaya. Hello, hebu guza rafiki yako. Wewe unafikiria story yako ni mbaya? Yeah. That's it. Isaac, Abraham and Sarah, they pass it on to Isaac and Rebekah. From Isaac and Rebekah, it is passed on to Jacob. Then Jacob, it is Jacob and Rachel and her concubine. And then Leah and her concubine. Can you see that? Yeah. So it is Jacob, 2 wives, and 2 slave queens. Ama sijui tuwaita nini? Sasa language ya siku hizi ni tutawaita nini? Oh, side chicks. Jesus Christ. And you and me know, if you have just any knowledge of the Bible, you will know that from Rachel and Leah and the 2 side chicks, we have 12 boys. Is that true? Is the promise being actualized or it's not? Are there mistakes or they are not? But is the project going on? That should be an encouragement, because some of us, we try things and we stop too early. We make a few mistakes and we are so discouraged. We throw our hands too early. We die hard. We had to die so early. Nakufa moyo mapema sana. Hata hiyo story ya marriage. Allah. Hata hiyo story ya marriage. Unakufa ndoa mapema sana. The first date. The first date, umeangalia jamaa vile anachiu. Vile jamaa anachiu. Unajua kuna watu wanachiwingi chakula inatokelezea huku. Umesha write off. Umesha write off bana. Umekuva roho mapema sana. Kwa nini? Those are things that can be rectified and dealt with. Ama unaangalia vile mtu anatembea, ama ile kiatu amevaa. So in all those mistakes by the grandfather Abraham and grandmother Sarah, and then we have Isaac. Isaac was just a quiet man. He was saying nothing. Isaac is a strange human man. Na vile kulikuwa na early on, we have Isaac, we have Abraham going to sacrifice Isaac. And Isaac is asking questions. He's asking his father questions, and he is engaged in the worship that the father is doing. But then later on, Isaac is just quiet. And we don't have a lot of his story until he's old. And then his eyes cannot see. And then he's duped by his Kawembe wife. But the promises are going on until we come to Jacob. Jacob starts the opposite of Isaac. Jacob is the opposite of Isaac. Because then Jacob, yeye ni crook from the stomach. Kutoka kwa tumbo ya mama yake. He is already a what? A crook. He's already grabbing the leg of his brother. And you know what he's telling his brother? Wezi ukatoka mbele yangu hapa nyuma. That is somebody who is already fighting for their inheritance while they are in their mother's tummy. So he's already a crook when he comes out. But even if he is a crook, he is the man that God will use to carry the promises forward. So look, it doesn't matter your history, your past. Najua wakati mwingine our past was inatusumbua sana. I was this kind of a man. I have lived this kind of life. I have messed up. I have done this. I have done that. My parents are this. My wife is this. My husband is this. I am the last born. I was not educated. I am the firstborn. I was mistreated. My life has just been a mess. My mother died when I was 2 years old. We carry all these stories, and I tried drugs. I tried sex. It did not work. I tried stealing. Mananasia. Yeah. So you look at that background and you begin to wonder, am I okay? Ask Jacob. Ask Jacob. Yeah, the guy, wewe uko tofauti. Yeye akitoka kwa tumbo ya mama yake, alikuwa tayari akuruku. But God will work through him. No wonder he has so many wives. Yeah. How does he get the wives anyway? How? He is cheated by the father-in-law. Why is he being cheated? Because he's a cheat. He's a cheat. He has already cheated his brother. He has cheated his father. He goes to the father-in-law. The father-in-law, the first thing he will do is to do what? To cheat him. And so he gives him Leah, and he has to work for another 7 years to get who? Rachel. But his heart is for Rachel. And so, after he gets Rachel, his heart is for Rachel. He loves Rachel. But God makes sure that Rachel doesn't get what? Children. And deal na hii mutu. Maana ni mutu ako na roho ngumu. Na kichwa gumu. So, unandil na mutu hata kupitia mke wake. So, Lea tu ako hapo. Lea apendwi. Anapata mimba ingine. Sio ndio lugha yenu. Anapata mimba ingine, anapata kijana. Na wote ni vijana. Anasema nini? Oh, this time Benjamin. Oh, this time Dan. Oh, this time God. Lakini hakuna Jacob. Hakuna. Where is his heart? Rachel. Na yeye God akafanya nini? Akafunga tumbo la nani? Rachel. Such that Rachel ameangalia hivi akaona, ni kumba? So kakoni kubai. Hebu chukua huyu msichana. Chukua huyu msichana. So that's how bad it is. But this is the point I'm making. The point I'm making. God's plan, Project Abraham, is going on in the midst of those mistakes and sinful behaviors. God's project for Abraham is going on. And let me tell you this. God's project for you will continue. You will make mistakes. But when you make mistakes, can you own them? Own them up. And talk. Talk to people. Talk to your leaders. Talk to your pastors. I have made this mistake. I want to go forward. What should I do? What must I do? But don't make mistake and then run away because of the mistake. When you run away, you are running to death. You are dissociating yourself with the promise. Because the promise is right here. With all this madness, with all these mistakes, with all this sinfulness, with all this wrongdoing, with all this messiness, the promise of God is right there. So stay there and ask for help. Oh, tell your neighbor that. Stay there and ask for help. Yes, stay there and ask for help. You will be helped. I tell you the truth, you will be helped. It doesn't matter how you look like and how things have gone for you. You will be helped. And it is through Jacob and the 2 wives and the 2 concubines we will have the 12 sons of Jacob who will make up the great nation that God promised to Abraham. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It is through Jacob and the 2 wives and the 2 concubines through which we will get the 12 sons by which God will make Abraham a great family and a great name. Amen. Well, if that's not a good message for you, I don't know what good message means for you. Because I tell you the truth, we will make serious mistakes in this life. I tell you the truth. Serious mistakes. Yeah. I mean, marriage and Jacob na Leah, that's already a mistake. Ama? Yeah, that's already a mistake. Yeah. Lakini ni kusonga tukisonga ganga. Jamaa ako ready for another 7 years. For another marriage. Hata hiyo nguvu ya kungojea miaka 7 alipewa na nani? Uliza hawa majamaa hapa. Hawa majamaa wako hapa GospelLife kama wanaweza kungojea miaka 7. Chuni, wewe unaweza kundate 7 years? 7 years, Chuni. Utaweza kundate? Hizo 7 years kuna majamaa wamendate 7 girls. Ama 12. Ai hapana. Hiyo waiting hakuna. Huyu jamaa amepata nguvu ya kuwait wapi? Inatoka kwa Mungu. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu promises of God ziko pegged on this man. So somehow he has to protect him and keep him. So he gives him strength ya kulisha kondoo na mbuzi wa father-in-law ni mkwewe. All the way until 7 years are over and he's given Rachel. Now kumbuke, Rachel is very important because through Rachel we're going to get Joseph. So without Rachel, story itasimama. So huyu Rachel lazima apate tu mtoto. Na tutakojea na ataleta suggestions, ndio? Apeane concubine na kuzaliwe watoto wawili. Ama ni watatu. Lakini bado ni sawa, ni watoto wa Jacob, lakini we still need a Joseph and a Benjamin. We need a Joseph who we will send ahead to go and wait for God's people in Egypt so that he may save God's people. Saving God's people is saving the promise. That's why Joseph must be born. And Joseph must be born by Rachel, who is barren this time. But God will eventually open the womb of this woman so that Joseph may be born. And after he is born, after a few years, he will be sent ahead by God in Egypt so that he may go there, wait for God's people so that God's people are preserved. And the promise of God is what? Preserved. So, ambia rafiki, relax. Relax. Yeah. So the family is now born. And they are beginning to multiply. There's a way the story of Genesis, when it comes to Joseph, the story just slows down. But as it slows down, wale sons wa Jacob wameanza kupata wives na wameanza kupata watoto. So the promise is going to the next level. Sawa. All the way until there is famine in the land. All the way until there is famine in the land. And Jacob and his family must go to Egypt. Kumbuka, the land was given to Abraham. The land is theirs. God made a promise to Abraham to give them the land. But now, they must leave the land and for 430 years, go and live in a foreign land. Because of food. Tumbo ni important sana. Hata kwako. So Genesis 46. Remember, we are going to do Exodus, not Genesis. But I needed to give you a background. Genesis 46. It's time for Jacob to end to Egypt. So I want to read some verses. And then I conclude there. And then, God willing, we pick the story now from Exodus. So, Genesis 46, verse 2. Let me read with you. And God spoke to Israel in visions of the night and saying to Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am. Then God said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for there I will make you into a great. Your story tumesikia na nani? Na Abraham. So the promise is being passed on from Isaac, now it is Jacob. So I will make you a great nation there. So he promised ya kukufanya great nation is not bound by Canaan. God can make Abraham a great nation from anywhere because he made the promise, including Egypt, the land of slavery. I will make you into a great nation. I myself will go down with you to Egypt. Look at those promises. And I will also bring you up again, and Joseph's hand shall close your eyes. I want you to look and see what promises God makes to Jacob right there. They are four. Number one, okay, don't be afraid to go down. There I will make you a great nation. I myself, in fact, am coming with you. So God is not being left in Canaan. Hata God ataenda na wao wapi? Egypt. Okay? And then I will bring you, I will also bring you up again. In other words, utarundi. And then you will be taken care of by who? By your son. He will take care of you. That's how you're closing the eye. Basically means when you die, he won't be there to take care of you. Can you see that? Now, these are promises being made to Jacob as he goes where? To Egypt. Just think about that. Wonderful. Yeah. Egypt will be banned, but God is with them. Amen. Then Jacob set out from Beersheba. The sons of Israel carried Jacob, their father, their little ones, their wives, in the wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They also took livestock and their goods, which they had gained in the land of Canaan. And they came to Egypt, Jacob and all his offspring, his sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, all his offspring he brought with him in Egypt. Before we finish, we will see the number. Now, these are the names of the descendants of Israel who came into Egypt. Jacob and his sons. So who are these sons? Number one, Reuben, who is Jacob's firstborn son. And then Reuben akona watoto. What are the names of the watoto? Good. Nataka munisaidie ndio twende haraka. So that's the firstborn. Secondborn, Simeon. Okay? Then sons of Simeon. Huyo akona wengi sana. Wale 7 ambao Stella alikuwa anasema. And then number 3, Levi. Sons of Levi. Huyo alipanga uzazi. Then fourth son, Judah. Sons of Judah. Walikosea God at some point hapo hivi. Okay? And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Amul. So hiyo ni family ya Judah. Family ya Judah iko na confusion hapo. Nani anakumbuka confusion kanatoka wapi? Lift up your hand if you can remember. Kanatoka wapi? Good. Explore. Tell your neighbor, explore. Your family ya Judah ilikuwa na confusion hapo. Okay. Then Issachar, number 5. Issachar. Sons of Issachar. Then Zebulun. Sons of Zebulun. Now, these are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram, together with his daughter Dinah. Altogether, his sons and his daughters numbered 33. That is Leah. 33 of them. Okay? The sons of Gad. Come on, everybody. The sons of Gad. Ah! Did you know that? Did you know that? Okay, let us repeat. Let us repeat. The sons of God. And then the sons of Hasha. So they have a sister. Then they have a sister. It's not just boys. Okay? And all the sons of Beriah. 18. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and this she bore to Jacob, 16 persons. So we end 33. Now it is plus 16. Okay, 19. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife. And to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, the priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, come on everybody. Good. Hapa hakuna family planning. Verse 22. Verse 22. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons in all. So 33 plus 16 plus 14. The sons of Dan. Come on. The sons of Dan. Huyo alipata kama. Huyo ni monda, ni wa siku hizi. Okay, the sons of Naphtali. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, and this she bore to Jacob. How many? 7 persons in all. Kuna mtu alikuwa anafanya hesabu? 33 plus 16 plus 14 plus 7. 70. Verse 26. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came into Egypt, who were his own descendants, not including Jacob's sons' wives, were 66. Bila wives. Persons in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Egypt, were 2. 68. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. 70. Okay? Now, Abraham started akiwa single, but by single namaanisha hakuwa na mtoto. Alikuwa na mke lakini alikuwa single. Okay? By the 3rd generation, kuna watoto wangapi? 70. These 70 are the ones who will go to Egypt. By the time they come out of Egypt, in chapter 13, 14, 15, they will be 650,000 men without children and wives. 650,000 men without children and wives. God's promise is being fulfilled. Amen? God's promise is being fulfilled. Now, next week, God willing, we will look at what happens when they went to Egypt. What happened? And that will be a little bit of Genesis 50. And then we go to Exodus chapter 1. But we want to follow the story and see what God is doing with this family. And one thing he's going to do, he's going to tell Egypt and Pharaoh to let my people go so that they can worship him. Because the story changed at some point and Israel became a slave in Egypt. And for many years they were enslaved. But God came and he demanded that his people leave Egypt so that they can go back and worship him. I don't know whether you're like me. I'm looking forward to the book. I'm looking forward to the book, to learning as much as I can, to being delivered from things that are bound, that may bite me in the course of the year, that may distract me in the course of the year, so that I may serve God and serve God faithfully. For now, we'll stop there. God bless you. I will see you next week.